Streaming? I think we're streaming. I believe we are live. Let me go ahead and check real quick to make sure I'm not lying. All right, we don't want that. Content. I think we're live.
We're live?
I think so. Make sure. Yep, we are, and I can hear myself, and I can hear you, so that is good. Oh, and I need to bring this back up now. Bring that down. Sweet! I think we're good to go. Can everyone hear us, if that's the case? If anyone's watching? I don't know if anyone's going to be watching at this time, but...
I can hear you.
There we go. That's good enough. That's good enough. Okay. Well,
Did we say a note in the Discord that we're live?
Let's check real quick. All right, we got one in here who can hear us.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So, oh man, see, this is why you got to set those aliases immediately. I type 2. it's such a reflex. Okay. All right, so let's get after what we were, where we kind of were last time. So, in case anyone is not familiar, again, this is Veladan. Veladan is my super fan, my super fan.
I am your super fan as well.
No, my supervisor for this zone, who is basically just in charge of the zone. So anytime that we were kind of discussing things last time, they all needed to be routed through him, and that's kind of one of the things that we're going to go over today is some of the design choices and concepts we had last time. We're going to be talking about them this time and hopefully making a little bit more progress. Usually if you're building a zone, you're going to be working very, very, very closely with your supervisor. Like it's going to be a buddy cop situation, and you're going to get each other's nerves and, you know, and laugh and cry and whatever.
There are instances where your supervisor will tell you no, because we all come to building projects with the intent of boiling the ocean, and we all want it to be super unique and special and have all our custom mobs and custom objects and all that stuff.
Balrog.
So the role put the Balrog in this zone, of course. So the role of the supervisor is kind of to be a sounding board and just help new builders or people who haven't built in a while just refamiliarize themselves with commands or ask how certain processes are done, or just to help out, really. I mean, we are there to be the bad cop, but my philosophy is to be more of the good cop.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this is also your first time, so you're kind of exploring what it's like being in.
Yeah,
this role.
I'm new as a supervisor too, so
all the extra pressure on you right now. After this project, you're like, we're never doing any of that again. That was a terrible idea.
I quit. It sucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's hop back into kind of where we were. So last time we created the map based off of the ASCII map. I had seen some chatter. Did we update the ASCII map? Do we need to make any changes to the map?
We've
also got Jahara here, by the way. Say hi to Jahara. Jahara was here last time. He was the voice helping us through it. Yeah, so let me check info zone 31.
We did change it. We shifted some of those hills to the south into mountains, because they are sort of the tail end of a mountain range instead of being hills. So that's the main geographic change that we adjusted. And then we have some things to change in this forested area to the northwest, but we can do that after.
Wait, so we updated. Okay, I gotcha. Well, let's go ahead and do that first then, because that makes the most sense. I gotta remember how Jahara made me, or was able to do this last time, where we were able to see. Do you know how to pop out the like the keywords into the editor in Mapper? Info zone 31.
Oh, I've never used popped out keywords in Mapper before. So if Jahara showed you that, that's a trick that I don't know.
ASCII map. It was view, but now
view vs read. Oh, okay.
Well, I'm using that and it's not working now, so I don't know what I'm doing. Editor. Does editor need to be MUME. Oh wait, so change editor line, maybe. It would make sense that the editor should be external. Change editor line. Let's just try that. Info. Oh,
He's telling me some
change
commands.
viewer MUME. Change editor external.
I really should try to work inside of Mapper more. I usually do things externally, but I didn't even realize that was possible.
Cool. Yeah, I'm learning so much here. Bladderfat's actually really good with Mapper too. He's been showing me a lot of tips and tricks, and you're just like, what? You could do that? So he had a great idea of basically like you can put notes into. I don't know if this pops up if I do it this way.
I was talking with me about that too, and he's like asking if he could put notes into the description, and I told him no, because as your supervisor, I'll go and review the descriptions, and if there's notes in every description, I'm going to have a note about every description. That sounded inefficient, so I told him, "Can you find something else to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I can put it in Mapper."
Anything else? All right, and let me pop this. All right, so there we go. So now we got this going here again. We need to select this. Boom. Okay, so now we should be able to see our ASCII map that's going to be sitting out here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's change. It looks like this room is a mountain.
To the south, the room to the east, and the room to the southeast.
All right, do room sector mountain, room sector mountain, room sector mountain. You're definitely it's smart to make aliases for all of this, but there's so many commands. After a certain point, you just forget all your aliases. So I end up typing it out a whole lot of time.
I do that too. I mean, even if I've got aliases, I don't know if it's just the way my mental model works, but I like to type everything out. So.
Dude, I just forget. There's so many. Like you're like, okay, room, desk. Is ROD, but room D set should be RODS, and you're just like,
yep.
Okay, so we got that. Those mountains put in. What else did we need?
Those room descriptions will probably have to change a little bit because they're now mountains and not brush.
Oh, the room names, yeah, we can change those. Let's just make sure we've got everything else set up here. Was that the only sector changes?
Those are the only sector changes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's good. Now we're gonna go ahead and zone save because, of course, gotta be
yes.
about that.
When you're building, save often and all the time, and make that a habit. Burn that into your mind, because if the game crashes or something happens, all your work will be gone. You know. So.
Exactly. We're also going to really quickly. We had kind of discussed a little bit off stream the general kind of wall layout, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that in right now. So we had a wall right here. So room, no exit north. Room.
Now, when you know this, I'm sure, but just for the benefit of the viewers, when you are adding the walls, basically removing exits between rooms, you'll have to do that both ways if it's already been created. But when you're digging, which is how you create a connection between two rooms for the first time, well, I guess not always the first time, but when you're creating connections, it'll do both sides for you. So when you're removing, you have to do both sides manually, but when you're creating, it'll do it for you.
Exactly. And then we had one up here, room no exit east. We'll go back down here. Room no exit west. That looks good. And then got some practice last time on how to wait. So I think also here I need room no exit south. Room no exit south. We can again, of course.
Unless you wanted to do like one ways into that ravine.
Yeah, we could do that. I think that's let's just we'll just make it clean for right now. Just like, I don't know, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around one ways a lot of times, so that's
sure.
Like just for like the basic map layout, we'll just do it this way real quick just to have it there, and then we can add the one ways once we're like I don't know about you when you're building your zones, but one thing that I've always found is like after like a week or two, you just like get really familiar with it, and you're just like, of course, this is where everything is, and then like, it just kind of like makes sense in your mind. But
There's nothing like being like when you're trying to show someone your zone and you just spam through it because you've built it and you've like, digested the whole zone. But when they're watching you do it, they're like, I have no idea where I am.
yeah, I think one of the interesting things too is you always have like so much. There's you put so much into the zone usually, and um, a lot of times people like don't find the stuff that you put in there, or they'll hold on a second. I need to. All right, so edit selected room.
Or it's not
north.
interesting to them and you think it's
Yeah,
the coolest thing.
exactly. You spend so much time. You're like, oh man, we're gonna do this and that and whatever, and then people walk in and like, that's cool, and then they never visited again. And you're like, that went well. All right, so we're gonna clean this up here.
Like remove the connections and stuff in the.
Yeah, just doing this as a little bit of spring cleaning. And what's nice is like once this is the case where we've got the map exits more or less set up, and the M mapper. Jar said he showed his wife his zone once. She was not impressed yet. But once everything is kind of set in mmapper and it matches the reality inside of MUME, it makes... Oh, we need to do a no exit there. No room.
Might have threw from the other side.
North.
Yeah.
There we go. It makes it pretty easy then to put in like descriptions or room names or whatever. Okay, so that's good. Now we just need to go over here. And I need to remove these connections. Oh, look at this. It's raining here.
It's obscuring the map. You don't know what you're doing.
I do love these rain effects, by the way.
Yeah, I do too.
It's one of the things where like you don't think about it, I guess, until... I mean, when you don't have it, but when you do have it, you're just like, man, these are just like so nice. It gives you a lot more ambiance. Okay, that's good.
Did we explain much about like the different phases of building last time? I can quickly.
No, actually, that would be probably a great idea because yeah, we're
just while you're cleaning up the stuff, I can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you want to do that?
So sure. So there's kind of two main phases to build when you embark on your, or three really, when you embark on your journey as a builder. All builders are sort of required to do a test zone first, and that's sort of to give you the very first sort of lay of the land of how commands work and let some of the team see how you write. And it's kind of a little bit like an entry exam in a way. And a test zone may just be totally a test, or it may be attached to a larger zone that you'll end up building out later. But that's sort of like the pre-work, I guess. And then once you've been sort of accepted as a builder, you'll embark on what's called the MC phase. So you'll be promoted from an M to an MC, which is the Maya cartographer. Mm-hmm. And this is when you'll be doing pretty much what we're doing now. Is you'll be discussing with your supervisor about what's the topography of the zone or where it's located, what kind of natural features exist, which is contained either in a mapper map or the ASCII map that we've been referencing as well. And that's sort of like the root of every zone. And in that phase, you'll be, digging out rooms, creating connections, creating your room names, the descriptions and sectors. And you'll pass that off to your supervisor and they'll review it for sort of grammatical errors, or do things make sense from a geographic or, from a geographic perspective, does it make sense to have a mountain linking to a forest in this way, and so on. And then after that phase, you'll move on to what's called the MB phase. You'll be promoted again. And that's when you really start seeing your zone come alive, which is, in my opinion, the funnest part of building. And that's when you'll be adding mobs and objects and sort of, we've got a whole library of stock model that you can integrate as a builder. So you can make your mobs have certain behaviors, or you can change how certain objects or mobs are viewed as from the player's perspective, and so on. So that's sort of like the standard trajectory. I think for all intents and purposes for this, we're kind of mixing some of that together to give everyone sort of a more holistic view of how building is done. But that's sort of how things are mapped out on the offset.
Yeah, and
the onset rather.
What would you say is like it just the like bulk of your time when you're building?
It depends on your skill set, I think, or your interests as a builder. You can really obsess about descriptions and stuff like that, and that could take a lot of time, which may or may not be an unfortunate thing because a lot of people just turn descriptions off. I don't do that because I like to read descriptions, but I think the bulk of your time is getting at least for me, is getting like that mix of mobs and objects and making sure things are flowing correctly and look nice, and making sure mobs behave how you want them to behave, and the way they're positioned or located on the map makes rational sense. Like you don't want to have trolls like out in a field, for instance, because they'll just sun-die. So like making sure all the animals are like, you don't want to have deer in an underground like cavern structure or something, so you have to think about how the mobs interact with your map.
Yeah, the
which takes a lot of time.
It's sometimes people can get like it's important just to like pace yourself because you're gonna lose steam at some point. And a lot of people they'll get the zone and then they'll start building, they'll put the names in, they'll put the desks or like half the desks in, and then they just fall apart because sometimes I think this is the most important lesson I've ever learned in building, which is that like you need to not care that much.
Don't be so precious about your ideas because they will get killed or shot down or changed.
Just put stuff in there. Sometimes there's sometimes there's a really, really, really good idea and you can fight for it, but most of the time just roll with it. Just put stuff in there, move on, and just get the zone out, So,
and as a new builder, you lack any kind of veto power. So if your supervisor or one of the V+ says that's not going to happen, you just kind of have to come up with a different solution, basically.
Exactly. So looks like we've got Rogan here. Actually, we're in the process of requesting a room for Rogan. I don't know if he has submitted it yet. We also added a door here to this exit. So just like Mapper kind of lies to you a little bit because each room is connected to another room, and connections really, really only go one way. So there's no such thing as a bi-directional connection, even though that's how we show it and we say it that way. There's really just two connections, one going one way and the other going the other way. And so the same applies for like doors. Like walls don't really exist. Walls are just the absence of connections, even though we kind of like show them. Anyway, so like whenever you're making a door, for instance, you have to do the exact same thing where you have to make the door on one side and make the door on the other side. There's no such thing as one door. It's just like two doors that act as one, if that makes sense.
But the walls do, it's important to think about when you're sort of walling out your zone does it make sense from a sort of geographic or perspective, or does it make sense with regard to the topology of the zone? Like you might want to have a wall if you're abutting a mountain because players just can't scale the mountain. So
yeah, absolutely.
That will be blocked off in most cases,
Absolutely. Like it's true that they like exist in like certainly from like a map or like from a visualization perspective, but like from what MUME is actually doing from the game, there's no such thing as a wall in MUME. There's just no connection.
Yeah, just connection, right?
And so that's why building stuff like doors and stuff, you always have to do it from both sides because that's what's really happening under the hood. Okay.
He did give us when a map is typically gridded out, it's between 0 and 99 rooms. But if you want to start adding rooms that are like in a cave or in a tree or in a building, you have to go what's called off grid. And those rooms typically start at number 100. And those will have to be requested from either your supervisor if they're a high enough level, which I am not, or one of the other gods. And so Rogan just gave us access to 100 room, so we can go off grid at some point and create a room that way as well.
Sweet. And yeah, usually you just kind of say what you're trying to do, and they'll approve or deny it. In this situation, we have one room, and what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little texture to the map. Generally speaking, sometimes zones will have way more rooms than just the basic 10 by 10 100 that are there. It's oftentimes you don't want that. You want to keep it relatively kind of condensed, especially for a corner zone like this, which is not, again, we kind of talked about it as like the wingman zone. I put it another way, but Jahar didn't like that. The point is that you don't want to add a ton of rooms to zones sometimes, but having perfectly flat zones feels kind of bad. Like, you want discoverable stuff in zones, so we're gonna put at least one little kind of discoverable thing in here. And I know we actually had talked about putting it here in this kind of little cul-de-sac thing. I'm actually thinking, we got Rogan here, so maybe he can drop the band hammer on us or something. We actually put it somewhere else, because this is already kind of a cool little discovery thing where you kind of like you go into the river,
come off the river.
So like we should, again, I kind of want to think about this like we want to reward finding things, and this is already, you found something, so like we should probably put this somewhere else, where you find something. What do you think?
Well, we do have, so like if you look at this, the layout of the map, we've got some hills and some mountains, which depending on the type of discoverable area we're interested in, whether it's like a cave or there's a burrow under a rotten tree, or part of the hill has been hacked away and crumbled, or like there's an earth, who knows, like you decide what type of discoverable thing you want there. But we definitely have some texture in the geography of the map where we can have some interesting little hidey holes or whatever. So yeah, it could be in the hills, it could be in the mountains down south. But I do agree with you that players will have to come off the river and go into that ravine that you've already made. So that's, in a way, that's some texture as well that already is existing there.
Rogan's already removed our request, so no room for us. We'll add a new request, I guess. Then I would actually, to your point here, I think that we've got some nice texture over here. We got this little nook that you can discover. Over here we've got this kind of gateway to Mirkwood type thing. These rooms have kind of like one-offs. I think this area that I'm standing in right now, which is just east of the river, where we kind of have this. There's a lot of 4x4 action here. This would probably be a good candidate for a little texture.
That's another point that's important to consider when you're building is, unless you're adding discoverable areas for players to go to, whether it's for XP or items, or there's some, other interesting reason, like food, whatever, there's some interesting herbs, there's some interesting reason to go there. Players just won't go there. And so unless they're actively TPing. And so if you want players to really explore the totality of your map, you want to add a diversity of locations for them. Otherwise, you're just going to have dead areas and maps, and that's no fun for you as the builder, and that's no fun for the players as well.
Exactly. So I would like to have another request then, and I would say let's see if we can get a burrow here, or it could even be going up. It doesn't matter. But Rogan, I guess I'll say Veladan.
Okay.
Could you request from Rogan a
it's not quite as formal as this
burrow in this room as opposed to in the cul-de-sac? I think I butchered that, how you spell cul-de-sac, but whatever. Got to go through the chain of command here. No, we don't need another off-grid room. We're just moving the well, I guess we knew it, a new off-grid room.
He can probably hear us. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I think he says. I think he can.
I think Jahar needs more red tape.
We need to get Fror in here.
Maybe you could try to dig to 100. See if you removed it.
Dig down 100. Aha! It's still there.
Oh, he gave us 2. Okay.
Oh, we got 100 and 102. Oh, 101. Oh, nice.
101 probably.
Sweet. Okay, well, we've got this room. Very nice. What should we do with this room? What do you think?
So should we add some XP here, which is always
Mm-hmm.
a draw? Or I know you talked about how you're interested in creating sort of discoverable elements, and so it could be tied to something greater within the zone. Like you find, I don't know, maybe someone died down in this hole and they have something on their body, or
Yeah.
could be both. An
Mhm.
animal found a body and consumed it, and the skeleton still has something on it. Like it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
sort of what the narrative intention is, I guess.
Well, so the way I'm thinking about it here, and again, everyone who will listen to this eventually, keep in mind, like again, this not every zone has to be that important, and this one is not that important. However, when designing like bigger MMORPGs kind of things, there's a whole lot of space, just like in MUME, and people will tend to get lost in that space. And so what they'll do is they'll try to add like very distinct landmarks and features to kind of keep track of things, right? And they'll usually they refer to these as towers. That's why if you ever play like Breath of the Wild and stuff, there's these big like things in the distance that you're supposed to go see, and they help you reference where you are, right? MUME doesn't have that because we're very much a well, you can't see anything. You have to read everything, right? So it's less about having something in the distance, although that'd be cool if we could, that would be an interesting mechanic. But it's more about like having like memorable things, which that doesn't mean that they have to necessarily be like important things. But like a great example is everyone knows like well, a lot of people know like the Stone Door area, or areas around Bree which have like unique let's see here. Golden Cave is a great example of like there's a cave there and it's got this kind of interesting name, Golden Cave, right? And people just know it's there. Or like Halamore's Ghost, or the Witch out near Fornos. Like these create like moments in your brain of like, oh yeah, that means I'm over here, right?
And they can be
Mhm.
POI instances, like as you're saying, these landmarks, or they can be like there's the lonely giant in the Shire, and that's
Mhm.
just he's kind of just a real funny character, and so people remember him, and he has you ride him, and it takes him back to his house or whatever. It's kind of weird, so you remember that. Or when you're a Lobby and you're killing wolves, you get the pelts and you take them to the tanner in the Shire, and so those are like sort of quest based instances where people remember things. But as you're saying, there's also landmarks like Golden Cave and Halmer's Ghost, which is both a location and a mob. And so yeah, I mean, you're trying to create those
Exactly.
points of just memory, I guess.
So in this zone, we're going to need to have something which allows a player to kind of reference where they are in relation to this thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm west of X. So with that in mind, that's kind of like where our storyline thoughts are probably going to go in terms of like, all right, so we had like the Fisher dude thoughts of down here in the kind of left corner. Kind of near the opening of Mirkwood, maybe having a fisherman, although he could be somewhere over here, right? But then, like, yeah, if we had like maybe like one more something.
That's also an interesting point to consider when you're building your zone. Like, yeah, you can have like all this geography and fill it with mobs, and then you just burn through it and kill the mobs, and then you leave. And that's cool, I guess, from a certain perspective if you're just trying to XP, but it doesn't really add context and texture to your zone. Like you want your zone to feel alive, like there's people living here.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if you've got a fisherman, like where does this fisherman live? He probably has a hut nearby, so like, or if why is there a hole in these hills, and why did someone fall into it, maybe? Or like why are there animals here? So like to think about the way it's structured from rationally, like does that make sense for this to be here? I think is important as you're planning out not only like the story of your zone, but just how everything is laid out.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a mistake I've made in previous zones of making them like you can add fun stuff to the zone, but like there's a difference between fun stuff, oh I can go kill all this stuff, and like memorable stuff of like, oh yeah, I'm over here because of this type of thing. Anyway, our kind of thoughts beforehand were, yeah, this is the river running, right? So that means that this is at least according to lore, this is a very trade heavy river. I think there's trade between Lake Town and Blue Mountain, or not Blue Mountain, Erebor, and
The
that goes
Iron Hills
it
are
goes all
nearby.
the way down to, I forget I'll go look it up. River running. But it's like supplying southern nations or something here. Let me see here. No, we don't want ads.
That's also like, what is the greater context of your zone? Like, does it have trade routes? Is it connected to a different culture or a different town? Like, those are all things to consider to have a well sort of integrated zone, because you're not building something in a vacuum. It's going to be connected to other areas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this goes all the way down to the Sea of Rune, which is, you know, most likely a large amount of, again, I don't know much about Rune, but I assume there's populations over there, which need stuff from Erebor. Anyway, point is that this is probably a tradey type zone. We're close to Mirkwood, which, since this is southern Mirkwood / near the Dark Mountains, I assume this is a little bit more on the evil-y side of things. So that
possibly. I mean, once you leave the forest, I mean, there are probably some residual evilness there, but people are living here, and they're not.
Yeah.
Like, they're not just going to live near a place where they're just going to die. So it's not. That's one thing to consider, I guess.
We also have this Dorwinian road over here, and I don't know anything about Dorwinians. Do you know anything about Dorwinians?
Well, I know that Rune, if as you go south, you start connecting to like Easterlings, but I know Dorwinian makes a lot of wine, and so that's like a big import.
Oh, really? Okay.
Into this region, yeah, is their wine production.
Okay.
But
oh yeah. Okay. So hold on a second. When it was high quality history, Dorwinian was known quite well for its high quality and widely enjoyed wines, able to turn alcohol resistant elves drunk. Nice.
Yeah, they were known as like a breadbasket kind of, and they would have wine was their most famous export, but they produced a lot of agriculture.
Yeah. All right. So this
is Dorwinian's Sindarin name. Okay.
Let me switch back. What do you say?
It's a Sindarin name, so it's an Elvish name.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm hearing a lot of trade here. A lot of trade, most likely.
Trade artery. People will be using the river, as we talked about.
So we'll probably have this road be kind of like crumbly and kind of not like super out of repair, but like probably a bit out of repair. Let's see here. Is there any like fun? All right. So let's say we're gonna put something over here. We'll put a room name in here and call it cave and room sector cavern. Although it'd be really fun if it was kind of like more of a abandoned wine cellar type thing, or like a storage location for where people used to hide their smuggling things.
Yeah, it could be like a either natural or manufactured cellar, or maybe there was a cellar in the hills that people stored their wine, which happens in real life too. There could be like maybe an abandoned house above here, or maybe the remnants of a house, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a location that people go because it's dry and up in the hills that they can store stuff, which doesn't sound too out of pocket. I think
I actually really like that. We don't even need. I think one of the cool things about a game like MUME, which is really fun, is we don't need to generate a whole bunch of new stuff to tell a story, right? So I would say this would be a great example of right next to the river, right next to the road as well, but we're kind of high up on in some hills, right? What if we just had like this was like a kind of like a weather toppy type of situation where people camped out and then they had some stores down here and they forgot about them or something, right? We tell like a little mini story about that,
like a merchant's storage or like a bandit cache or something. Like they wanted to store stuff
exactly,
and they had the natural cave that was dry and whatever, and they they used it that way. I
And
think that's reasonable.
the beauty of again the way the MUME is set up is we can tell all that story just with probably the room name and descriptions. We don't even need to have appropriate mobs in here. We could have just like a a termite or something that's eating some wood in here or whatever, and it's just clearly abandoned, right? But you don't need to like generate all these crazy assets and stuff. So I really like that idea. Let's we're just gonna say like abandoned.
Jahar did have a good point there. He, roughly speaking, I don't think this is true in every case. There are some little edge cases, but we typically try to think of each room as a 2x2.
Yeah.
In terms of miles, it's 2 miles by 2 miles. So
Mm-hmm.
we're close-ish to the hills or the road and the river, but we're not exactly on it, or next to it. So, which may be fine. Maybe this is secluded enough to hide.
It could
things,
be. It could be. I don't know. Some. It'd actually be kind of fun. What if we did this? This might be kind of fun. What if we actually did room no exit down, and we did room.
You moved it over one more.
Yeah, move it over left one. So let's see here. Dig down 100. So we moved it over to here. And what if we made this, which is right next to the road, like an abandoned, like a inn or something, where like not necessarily like a real inn, but like a obvious place where people used to stop when they were going up and down the road and has long been abandoned, kind of thing. So like room,
homestead or way station or something.
Yeah, like or like at the very least like campground or something like abandoned camp. Oops, that's not room name. Abandoned camp, and you're gonna obviously I'm gonna want to change the
make sure you go down because we changed it. This was the rolling hills.
Well, no, so
it's above it.
The idea is like the thing is above it, and then down is the like I don't know. They had a little
cellar
like
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever type thing. Cool, and then we can use that. That looks pretty good. This is a we didn't. I didn't fix that. All right, so room no exit east, room no exit west. I have to go in here and yeah, I will say a little fee. So the I've really gotten the hang of these deleting connections things. One thing that's a little, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but for some reason, like when you're in this mode, just moving left or right with your cursor moves the map, which is that's a little jarring. All right, let's go in here and
Mapper will sometimes bug out too when you're in mapper mode and it's not like linking connections correctly, and I've pulled my hair out fixing that before.
I mean, it's a marvel for what it does, but
for sure, but when you're trying to be very precise.
Yeah. Okay, that looks
after you made a bunch of changes. Yeah, that's cool.
That looks pretty good, I think. Which also then I need to go ahead and delete this connection though. Select connection, this one, which I guess is going to. Uh-oh, we might have to delete this room again. Yeah, we're just gonna do that. So we go back over here, delete room, and there we go. Boom. And then we're gonna go ahead and zone save, and we're gonna save this map so we can get rid of all these stupid things. No. Sweet. Sweet. And actually, we're gonna add a room because now we have to add an extra room here, which it won't be here, I guess, actually. So we'll delete this. So it's kind of interesting having to like we've got a 2D map here. Well, technically it's a 3D map, but it's a 2D map, and we have to
create texture with words.
Show
basically.
a 3D texture with 2D. No, I mean like in mapper. So I'm adding this extra room for like down exits. So usually like these down or ups will actually be like off to the side somewhere. We can move this somewhere else later, but we're gonna go from here to. Okay, that doesn't work. We're just not even gonna bother. We will. That is a later problem. That is an off-stream problem. Okay, sweet. So we got that taken care of. Let's talk about what's going to be in this zone, like mob wise, then, because we talked about it briefly before. We want it to be relatively light. This is probably a good time. I would like to showcase how we can look up mobs. I won't stat them, but I would like to list or show off like the numbering system and stuff. Can I get the okay from Jahara and Rogan on that?
Yeah, I guess we'll wait for them to give us the okay, and then you probably know the commands already, but I can help with that.
I do. It's a little bit finicky, just because of the way that it's a text game. But basically the way it works is each mob has a. Oh, of course, Rogan. That's a no. Each mob has a number associated with it. So you can't just like load a horse. You have to go and look up the number that's associated with a horse, and then you load that number, which makes sense because you have to be accurate. So we'll see if they let us show that off here. A lot of MUME stats and stuff they try to keep secret because it makes it more fun for players to not know everything all the time. But hopefully when it comes to just listing out available numbers for mobs and objects and stuff, they'll be.
If they don't want to show that on stream, you can just tell me what you're looking for, and we can add the com.
Well, so let's just mostly I just kind of want to go through like some of the lists of things that we had to maybe to work with. So while you're off stream, you want to go ahead and like list, like, let's say, well, bears are classic. Let's look up some bears. Let's look up some bears, and can you just tell me like what kind of like bears we might have available to us?
So we've got some grizzly bears and grizzly bear cubs. Black bear, classic one. Brown bear, of course, and bear cubs. I think those are the sort of level appropriate options here. Like, we've got cave bear and stuff that you see around Arda, but
man, that just doesn't feel very fun. What about fish? Let's talk about fish.
Tawny bear, which you
tawny
see
bear
around,
would be cool.
Lorien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could do bear.
Fish.
We could do a tawny bear. Here, actually, let's. Could you do me a favor? Could you look up, load, or trying to remember what is this? Yeah, so look up number mob test, and just see what comes up there. Because I'd really like to show that. If there's nothing bad, could you ask Rogan and Jahara if we can just show that, because it's hard to explain this without showing something.
Like a test mob, or
so Rogan doesn't want us looking up mobs and objects because it might leak something that's not released. But if we just use keyword test, hopefully that just shows
there's a lot of
some obvious test
a lot of
stuff.
weird stuff in there. I'll let them decide if they want to show that. I mean, we could probably load a fish or something here. I think that's fine.
Well, I just wanted to show.
Oh, you want to show like the list of the
looking
fish?
up the number. Okay. All right. So the way that we're going to do this then is we're going to do number. So first we have to find the number for whatever we're trying to find. So we can do hashtag or / number, and then we're going to do M for mob. You can just type mob. And then we're going to use the keyword. So then this is going to give us a list of everything that matches the boar keyword, right? But now we've got these numbers over here on the left side, and in order to load one of these, let's say we're going to load a tusky boar, which is 1113. Then you would do load M1113.
Let's move off the river first.
Oh, you don't want the boar to drown? Okay, we'll put it right here. So load M1113. Yay, we created a boar, right? One thing to keep in mind that this just creates the boar in the room. Like we literally just loaded it. We don't make it. We're not actually spawning it here, which this is done with the com command, right?
Yeah, every room will have what are called comms associated with them, or not every room, but every room you decide to add a comm to, and that's sort of the spawn point for an object or a mob. And some mobs are static and they'll just stay there, and some mobs will move around like this boar, but that's the point in which they spawn.
Exactly. So we're gonna go ahead and kill this boar actually real quick. Let's go ahead and practice. Could you give me the number for tawny bear? Just for fun. Although, are we allowed to use those? Because those are like Lorien area specific.
I will check. Okay, so when you create mobs in MUME, the creator of the mob can add notes about their mobs, and so in those notes it'll tell you, don't load this mob here, or this mob is meant to be unique, or this mob likes particular types of environments, so don't load, like if it's from the forest, don't load it in the mountains and that kind of thing. So the notes for tawny bear is it should be used in lands east of the Misty Mountains.
Okay, so this
allegedly it originates in the Goldenwood, but we are east of the Misty Mountains and we're not in an evil area, so maybe the tawny bear is something we can take a look at.
Could be reasonable. Do me a favor, actually. Could you look up? There's like a test mobile and a test mob or a test object. I think it's like 9091 or something like that. Could you get me the number on that exactly? Maybe stat it beforehand, just make sure. Because I want to show how you stat these things so you can see the stuff behind it. But I want something that's not in game.
Yeah. There's an object that's that has the number 9902.
9902.
Yep.
Okay. So if you want to load something, well, there's a couple things you can do. First, you can look up the info command. So info M9, what was it? 9902.
9902.
So info mob 9902 read.
Object. This is an object. Oh. You need a mob too.
Well, okay. Info object 9902 read. Okay, so this is some cracked, splintered pieces of wood. Item used by lib redress mob. Please do not change the stats. Do not muddle. Okay, so you basically, before loading something, you'll usually use this to see if there's like any notes attached to it, and it'll say like, hey, don't load this here, do load this here. Actually, let's do that. Can we do that for the tawny bear? That seems pretty reasonable. What was the number for tawny bear? If it just says load east of them, and we already just said what's in the info, right?
Tawny bear is 1904.
1904. Oh, I always forget the read command. Okay. All right, so this mob should only be used sparingly, only where appropriate. Please consult Encanus. Oh, this is 1904. Oh my gosh,
mob 1904. Yeah, tawny.
I typed it. Info M 1904. Read. There we go. This bear is to be used lands in the east of the Misties. Allegedly, it is originated in the Goldenwood. Boom, right? So you should always check the info of a mob before you load it. Sweet. That looks like it's probably good. Obviously, we'd have to get the okay from Rogan and stuff, but that's enough to kind of get going and not feel bad about loading it, and then they can kind of make their decisions later. But I also want to do the stat command. So what was the test object stat again? Number?
So the wood that you just looked at?
Yeah.
9902.
Stat object 9902. Is it read? I don't remember. Or is it just stat? Whatever. Okay. So then let's say you're going to like look at a mob or an object. Could you look up a mob as this example as well? Like a test object or a test mob?
Okay.
I know there's I think it's 99.
I don't know exactly which one. Let me ask.
But the point is like, let's say you're going to load something in a room and you're going to load an object. This is what you'd look up as well. So what this allows you to do is you can see like, hey, a bunch of important stuff about it, like weight and magical level and all of its short description, long description, all this stuff, which we're going to have to put in. Oftentimes it'll also show you like how much gold it's worth and other things like that, or item type. And these are important things of when you're adding stuff to a zone. You want to check this as well to make sure that you're not like adding something super valuable in a place where there shouldn't be anything valuable. And hopefully we get to show this with a test mob as well, which then can showcase how, you can check the level of the mob to make sure that it is correct, etc. Right.
It's also important when you're deciding on mobs and objects to add to your zone, like to read the description for those as well. Like you may think, oh, this seems innocuous. Like, why couldn't this be here?
Mm-hmm.
And then you read about the object and it's like, oh no, this is manufactured by dwarves. And if you're in an area where there's no dwarves, then it wouldn't make sense for that thing to be there. So, but yeah, let's see what Rogan says about a test mob we can stat.
Well, while he's thinking about that, let's go ahead and load a tawny bear here just to say, okay, so we're going to stat 9091. This is mob 9091. Okay, this is a great example, right? So we got all this information here. It tells you what level it is, what experience it is, how much money it has, its attack type, its OB. It gives you all the information that you need to know for a mob, right? And all of these flags, like can it sense life? Is it got swim, no track climb, all these fun things, right? And these are really useful if you are putting mobs in the zone, because sometimes you will realize that you put a mob that's way too strong in your zone or way too weak, and that's a big deal. So anyway, that's just kind of a little showcase of what that looks like. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and load some stuff here just for the fun of it. So we've got this kind of little dugout muddy burrow thing. What's going to live in a muddy burrow? What do you think? Muddy tree-filled
there could
ravine.
be like an earth beetle or some plants.
I think a beetle sounds great right now. Let's can you do the info on beetle and
sure.
just make sure that's got no crazy notes on it?
There are no notes.
Nice.
For the giant earth beetle.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and load it then, or we're gonna put a comm in for that. What's the number?
7004.
7004. Okay. So what we want to do now is, instead of just loading it, which means that when it dies or the zone resets, it's not going to come back. We want to set a spawn point for it actually right now. Ooh, we got some slugs. Ooh, slugs would be nice too. Slugs and beetles. We could do a slug in here too. But let's showcase this. So the way that this is going to work, so first you type com, and then we're going to add something here. So we're going to com add mobile, and then com add mobile. We're going to have to give the mob number, which what do you say the mob number was?
7004.
7004. The limit is, correct me, it's the limit for the world first and then zone?
So I typed that, it's world limit, zone limit, room limit, and then the load chance.
I don't think we need to do world limit first, right?
So
because
those 0, so 2 zeros.
Zone limit, do beetles move? I don't remember. I think they do.
Beetles move, so they want a zone limit, but not a room limit.
Yes. So they're kind of to explain that here, because they move. So if you've got mobs that are just in a room and they don't move, then you'll have a room limit when it comes to loading them or spawning them, which means that you'll never have more than, let's say your room limit is 1. You'll never have more than 1 of them load in a room, which makes things very simple, right? But if your mob moves, then what often can end up happening is someone doesn't set a zone limit and the mob moves, and then of course on the next repop it pops a new one and it moves and it pops a new one.
It's no longer in that room anymore.
And then all of a sudden your zone has 7,000 beetles in it and you're like, what happened? So we're going to set a zone limit then here of, let's say, 2.
0, 2, yeah.
So 0, 2, and then we're going to do a room limit of 0, 1. Yeah, let's do 0, 2. Let's do 0, 2.
Okay. Just to showcase, yeah. And then load chance is the last 2 numbers.
What, 100%?
Yeah, 100% would be 2 zeros.
Oh, yeah, 2 zeros. Boom. Oh, and I have to com mobile 7004 020200. And then we need stand, I guess.
Wait. It will load standing unless you
add mob 774 I think I'm getting the syntax here wrong. So wait. Com. Oh. Oh, I know. I need to add com here. Add.
Com add mob, then the mob number, and then the all the limits.
I did that. Oh, I see. I see. I did wrong. I see. So like that. There we go. I just had the wrong syntax there. I was putting the 0, 0 with a space there. Okay, sweet. So now, if we check, how do we? I forget the. How do you check the comms in the room again?
/com list.
/com list. That will show us the comms in the room. There we go. Very good. Right. Now, obviously, we don't see a beetle in here right now, and you can wonder why that is, and that's because the room hasn't reset, right? Because it hasn't loaded, right? There's a reset timer basically for rooms. So the way that you can force that is you can make sure that you are reacted, and then you can reset the room basically. So now we've got an earth beetle, right? And we have a limit of 2, so that means if we reset it again, oh, we got another earth beetle, right? But if we reset it a third time, no more earth beetles. So that's it. We're maxed out.
Rogan does bring up a good point. If you already have a zone limit set, you don't need to set a room limit. It just makes it look cleaner if you don't.
Yeah.
And that will be something I would flag during the review phase. But because we're just showcasing this, that's fine. But yeah, anytime you have a zone limit, you don't need a room limit as well.
Well, yeah, let's showcase that then here. So we're going to go ahead and com what we change, right?
Com change, or you can kill the com and re-add it as well, which is another way. It's a less clean way, but yeah, you can change the com.
Com change, and is com change what, 1? Com change
1 because it's the only com in the index.
1 mob 7004. And then it's 2020. Wait, no, 20. And then what? 00.
20200. Yeah.
Well, no. So if we're changing it, so it's just the zone limit.
There wouldn't be a room, so just 0 for the room.
So it would be 2 and then 00. Or is it 00? Is it 2? This is always brutal. So, because it's world, zone, and room.
Oops, I changed it. Sorry. Hang on. I changed it instead of saying it. That's the command.
Okay, so you got the zeros beforehand, 2, and then 0, 0, 0. Okay, nice. And so these first 2 zeros are the world. Second 2 digits
are the zone.
Third 2 are the room, and then the last 2 are
the load chance.
Why is 0, 0 100%?
Yeah, well, there are some little syntax, things that are quirky.
Yep. No, anyway, that's the way it is. And then yes.
But when you do com list again, you can see that there's dashes there now instead of other numbers. So that just looks cleaner.
That makes yes, exactly. And then if you want to get rid of it, it's com kill 1. So then we got rid of it.
Com kill and then the number of the index.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and add this back in. So com add mob 7004. And it's 00 02 00 00.
Yeah.
Boom. Too easy. And it works. Yes, definitely some of the funniest mishaps I've seen are when comms get messed up and it's and just you walk into a zone and it's just chaos in there with how many things are in there. Okay, sweet. All right, so we got some beetles here. Now that we kind of explained that, let's go ahead and maybe add some more stuff and kind of get some, just like a basic, very vanilla thing going on in this zone. So, all right, we got beetles. Let's throw some fish in the river. Can you look up some fish for us? Like anything, salmon, I don't know.
We can do catfish, salmon, trout, bass.
Let's do catfish and bass. Sounds good. What do we got?
Okay. Let me just double check. I doubt there's notes on these, but let me just double check. So catfish are found in clear water as well as the sea. So that sounds
perfect.
And then bass. Bass like deep water inshore.
Deep water inshore.
Could do trout. Want me to look at trout?
Trout sounds good. All right, let's add a catfish here. This looks pretty good to me. So we got that, and we're gonna do 0, 0, 0, 0, and we'll do. Actually, let's do 2 again. 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, I forgot the. Yeah, there's nothing sadder than when you're typing this out and you miss just the M or the O, and then you have to type it all out again. Okay.
The thing about certain mobs belong in certain sectors, so because we have this river sectored as water, these fish aren't going to start wandering onto the road and stuff like that.
So we got trout. We'll load 1 trout over here. I think this is fine. So Cam, you said, what was that? Those 28.
28.
Wow, that was an early mob. Cam, 28. We're going to do 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Boom. All right, we got some fish on the river now. Looks nice. Again, we can update that. You know, it'd be really fun adding something a little bit naughty in this room, because it's a little cul-de-sac room in the river. Can we like do a crab, or probably not a crab? That's like an ocean thing. Like a sturgeon, is that cool, or what do you think? Something with a little bit more oomph to it.
Let me look at the notes. Hold on.
Another thing while you're kind of looking at that is, generally speaking, in a new zone, you'll have a mob that you get to make, and you have an object that you get to make. Not always, but generally speaking, that's pretty normal. And hopefully we get to showcase that here. If we were going to do it, we'd probably start brainstorming some of that. The reason being is, well, once you've done looking that up, do you kind of want to explain what the process from an administrative level looks like to get objects and mobs into the game?
Sure. So when you first start building, you'll start ideating on mobs and objects with your supervisor, especially after the MC phase, as you move into the MB phase. And any new object or mob that enters MUME has to kind of go through an approval process. And the immortal that's responsible for that is Fror. He's the A of mobs and objects. So you'll kind of ideate on that with your supervisor, as I said, and then you'll create a keyword in your zone. So the same sort of area where the map is located that we looked at before. And you'll come up with some proposed stats. I like to include a little lore blurb about the mob or object that I'm creating and how it's attached to the zone, and any other sort of considerations that I feel are interesting. Yes, let me get that for you.
I know you're talking here, but yes, as you were saying, you'll have to usually give there's a kind of almost a standardized form that you're gonna have to fill out, which is gonna give the backstory for the mob or the object, the rationale behind it, a rough draft of like what his stats are gonna be, kind of what we showed off in the stat commands. Yeah, all right, sweet.
And then after you've kind of come up with that sort of dummy or proposed stat block and lore considerations, which is all stuck into a keyword, you'll send for an in-game mail and basically let him know that you're a builder in this zone and this person is your supervisor, and they've reviewed your object or your mob, and you'd want him to take a look at it and either approve it, or he often he'll either approve it with some conditions or no conditions, or he'll deny it with some conditions, and he'll ask you to correct some things. But so there's a little bit of conversation there in the approval process. But after you've done that, and if he's approved it, he'll create the mob or the object in game, and then you can start setting up its stat block. And if it's like a humanoid, you can start assigning equipment to it, and that kind of thing. And then once that process is finished and it's been reviewed, at the very end, he'll review it again after you've added equipment and stats and stuff like that. So it's a long approval process sort of to get objects and mobs created, but it initially starts with creating a keyword and then sending for an in-game mail to ask for approval.
Exactly, and sometimes that process can take a little time, so we try to get it done early. So we'll talk about that here a little bit more in a second. Let's actually showcase right here. So I'm going to put in I put in a large termite, a giant termite here, and oftentimes they'll have kind of little baby termites following them. Let's showcase the follow command here. So in a situation like this where we want to load these kind of baby termites that are kind of attached to this bigger termite, you would want to use the follow. So you're not going to just load them into the room, because otherwise they're just kind of going off and doing their own thing. Actually, I don't know if this is a great example, but we're going to just use it as an example. Could you, so it's what?
I'll write out the command for you, 1 sec.
Add follow. And then it's the
the new mob's number. Yep.
Is it the new mob's number or the old mob's number?
Then
follow mob number limit. Oh yeah, master comes second. So
yeah, the master's second. So it's the new mob number, and then the whole like zone, world zone room, load chance.
Okay, so
numbers.
Follow 388. Okay, so after. Okay, so mob number, and then we'll do 0 0 0 3 0 0, and then we do the master number, right?
Yeah, I just pasted the command for you.
3, and it's the actual mob number, not the com number, right?
Right, the mob number.
Okay, so here we got \com add. We're adding a follower. This is the follower number 3800, and then we're saying that we can have 3 of them here in the zone. So 03 or 00 03 00.
Yeah, termites 0 too.
00 actually. We need 2 more zeros there. And then the number of the big mob that we have in here. Boom. Okay. Sweet. Yes, so Rogan is talking about no mob here. This is a good example here of, let's go ahead and kill these guys real quick. Real quick, you'll notice very fast, a lot of mobs do wander, technically, but in game they tend not to wander, and that could be confusing to people because they'll load a lot of mobs and all of a sudden things are wandering all over the place, and you just have this, like, again, zoo happening in your zone. A easy way to stop mobs from wandering is you can basically say don't wander there. And let's see here. The room is what? It's a exit flag, right? Room
exit flag, which is it's /room D set.
D set. So room D set up. We basically want to make sure that they cannot wander up. So room D set up, and then it's no mob, right?
No _ mob.
No mob. Sweet. And basically that's going to mean that when we load these guys now, oh, these are all loading sequentially. I think I need to change that so they all load at the same time, but whatever, we're not doing that right now.
You can check the flags in stat room. You can see which flags you've set there.
Yeah. Right now we got up flag is no mob. So wonderful. Now they're not going to wander around. They're kind of stuck in here, even though they do wander. And we'll just use that kind of as an example. But sweet. We should probably also have I would assume we want some sort of door here. So we'll do a door down.
You can do room flags, which is a flag for the whole room, or directional flags, like we just did with the no mob leading up. So those are for different instances, and they have different purposes, but the 2 sets of flags you can do.
Exactly. What's a good example of a room flag?
Could be dark.
Oh yeah, we should do that then. Room flag dark. And that'll just mean that it's not going to be sunlight in here, which it shouldn't be. Sweet.
And you've closed your
flag. All right,
That's also a good point. What Rogan just brought up is when you do directional flags like no mob, you want to do both sides. So while your mobs can't wander out, you don't want other mobs wandering in.
Although that would be
And then
kind of
they'll get
cool.
stuck.
That would be kind of cool. But yes, there are a couple places like that. All right, so we will adhere to good building. What is it? They call it best practices.
Best practices.
All right, so room deset down. No mob.
No mob.
Okay, nice. I personally kind of like some of that stuff, but it's fine.
Have a bunch of snakes leaking into a...
Yeah. I think it adds a texture. Okay, all right, so we got some termites, we got some fish, we got a beetle. What do you think should be in Mirkwood? What do you think? We need
some vines in here, or
vines?
Some big plants, some roots maybe, vines.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's do what are roots or vines or something? What are vines?
So we have the massive vines, which you see around, and they will wander around. We can put some of the thick vines or some of the Mirkwood vines in here.
Let's do some roots in here, and oh, it literally says great roots. So yeah, let's do roots in here. What are roots?
I'll type out a couple options for you.
Thanks. Normally, you wouldn't have to sit here and ask your supervisor every single time for simple stuff like what's the number for roots.
Yeah,
but
we're just being sensitive because it's on stream.
Yeah. Okay. Room. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want to do. So we'll just do one here. Yeah, let's just do a clump of roots. I think that's reasonable enough. So cam 18, and cam is an example of like some of these things just are a pain in the butt to type out. So, and you type them enough that like you do make an alias for them. So, all right, we'll do 000001.
And when you're first starting out building, having all these commands is very intimidating and you feel overwhelmed. But as you just get used to the syntax and doing it 1,000 times, it becomes like second nature.
Do we have any like fun snakes or mud snakes or something? Any mud related stuff in forests?
Muddy snakes. Green snake.
Actually,
black snake.
You know what? We've added some mobs. We haven't added any objects. Let's add an object here. Let's. What about like a branch? Could we do that? Or a some, I don't know, like a pile of leaves or something? Or
you can do. There's a couple branches. We can add a pile of leaves, which is an herb, but it only comes out during certain seasons. We could add.
Later we'll get into like redressing objects and stuff, which is really fun, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Right now, let's just put the raw stuff in.
I'm just looking through some notes here. Let's see here.
You know what?
Muddy pit.
You know what we should do? Actually, yeah, let's, again, for the sake of kind of showing things off, let's go ahead and keep it simple. In our little abandoned hideout over here, let's put like a wooden crate. That's probably what the termites were eating.
Okay. 6042.
6042. All right, so we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So it's going to be instead of com add mobile, it's going to be com add object, and it's going to be 6042. And
to room limit this one because it's not wandering around.
Yeah. So 000001, and that's that. And now if we do com list, we get to see, hey, there's an object there with that. Oops.
You have it loading 1%.
This is gonna be a super rare crate. This is how you know that you struck gold. You should. All right, let's do it again though. So com change
object.
3. Wait, it's com change 3, right?
Com change 3 object. Yeah.
Object. 6042 0000. Wait, no, 0001. All right, 1, 2, 3. Right, that one. So 1, 2. There we go. Right,
there you go. Yep.
Make sure that looks good. Nice. All right. So that's it's basically the same process. It's basically the same process. Jahara's saying that queen bee is pretty rare out east. I'd love to add a bee. I don't know if we could add a bee. We should also probably have something like, you don't need anything like, this is not supposed to be a super scary area, but we probably want like something in here that is like, you know, like if you happen to be in the area, you can get a little XP off of it. Vultures type things are always good for stuff like that. We've got some hills and mountains.
Hills and mountains, yeah.
Could
do a vulture. Could do.
Let's do a vulture. We'll just keep it rolling right now. So, what's a vulture? All right, Cam 7018, and what do you think? 1 or 2?
An elevated perch. I mean, we could do 2.
2? 0.
Often, MUME always has them in pairs. It seems like.
0.
Could have like nests and stuff here too if you want.
Wait, so I want to make sure I'm not crazy. If I do a zone limit of 2, but a room limit of 0, that's going to make it nothing load here, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have to do 2 and 2. Okay. And yeah, let's do it. Perfect. Let's do a nest, and maybe we could either throw an egg in the nest. Okay, so
the eggs, I think there's one of them that is obviously a chicken egg, and when you read the description, but I've seen that put in nests before, like a vulture nest, and so just be careful of what eggs you're adding.
All right, we already did something wrong here. Oh, yeah, we did it wrong. All right, let's fix the so change
2%,
mob.
yeah.
7018. Okay, so wait, so 00, 02, 02, 00.
You can get the right egg for you. Hold on.
Oh, come on. Com change mob. Oh, com. Wait, no, com add. Wait, no, wait, what? Com change add. Wait, I'm so confused. Com change. Oh, that's why I messed that up. 1, 7. Yeah. Unfortunately, just remembering syntax is like 90% of the battle here. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So 8030. Oh, okay, so we don't need the zone limits. Okay, so yeah, we'll just do, just for the sake of keeping it clean, we'll do com change 1701. Once you kind of get the flow of things, though, it gets a little bit better. Boom. Nope. And immediately messed it up. Change 1M01.
Especially when you're reviewing all the comms and whatnot in totality, it's good to have everything organized neatly. Not just for the reviewer, but just for like posterity, like just so everything looks nice when you have it all finished.
Okay, so for the eggs, we want to put the eggs in the nest. So let's see, how do we do that again? So
it's com add p for put.
Okay, com add p, and then what was the number?
And you want to put the egg, so it's kind of like the follow, the same syntax.
So
so the object.
8030. 8030. And then we're doing what? 300, and then where do we put it? Into the nest, which is where's nest? Nest is 1750. Let's see if that works. Nope, we did it wrong. Oh, you actually put the keyword egg?
The egg is no. That's just you have to put the code there. I'm just.
Oh, I think I put
typing up.
Put object So I don't need the O.
Yeah, and your nest also just needs a room limit. Doesn't need a zone limit.
Well, we can't have too many nests in this zone, obviously. Let's see here. Is that right? There we go. Okay, so that technically does work, but yes, you don't want... All right, so let's go ahead and do this again. Com change object... Wait, no. Com change to object 1750 0000. Well, I guess it's just 100, or just 100. There we go. There. Keeping it clean.
And 3 small eggs in a nest.
Nice. You can also move things, which I don't want to showcase right now because I don't want to break my brain even more. But yes, that is how that works. Okay, so we got...
Don't forget to save.
Yep, got our save in here. We got our birds. Again, this doesn't need to be a brimming with life zone, but it still feels kind of dead. Maybe like a goat or something over here. Let's
Goat in the hills.
Yeah, what's a goat?
You want an ibex or just a regular goat? Or mountain goat.
Oh, centipede. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat over here. We got some good stuff here. So we got starved bear, centipede. Let's throw a centipede in here, and yeah, an ibex. That sounds fun.
Okay.
Small centipede. That looks good to me. Let's just do that right here. So cam 442, and we'll do 100. Keep it really simple. Do these move?
I don't think centipedes move. No.
All right. Well, then we're just going to do that. And then let's do an ibex down here.
So ibex should only be, I'm reading the note now. So ibex should only be loaded in mountains and if possible, not alone. So we can do...
It would have to be in the southwest then.
We can do another type of goat.
Yeah, what if... well, let's add too many mobs, and then we'll take away mobs that we don't like. They just don't feel good. So let's throw a couple ibexes down here. Let's do, like, 2. So, what's the number?
Ibex is...
It is way
Well, these
easier.
are mountain ibexes. There may be another ibex. Let me check this.
That's all good. Someone was suggesting in the chat adding a pike. That would be kind of cool. Somewhere. It is super easy though to get rid of comms. It's annoying to add them. So sometimes when you're in the zone, just add a bunch of stuff and take stuff out. It's way easier.
You can put this ibex in the hills. You don't have to put that one in the mountains.
Okay.
6.
Let's go back over here then. Let's put it here. 6011. Yeah, so cam 6011, and we'll do... do these wander? We'll do 02.
These wander, yeah.
Okay, we'll just do it that way then. Call it good. Okay, so we got some ibexes, we got a centipede, we got some termites, maybe some kangaroos. Where's a wallaby? Man, we need some stuff for these trees, though. What lives in forests? Bugs.
Some tree snakes.
Tree snakes, a classic.
Insects.
I feel like one thing that I would like. Let's try to do, which we're probably going to totally fail. But like, tree snakes, for instance, are classic. Bears and dens are classic. Vines and forests are classic. Man, it'd be really cool if just like the mobs felt like they were not like unique or anything, but just like they're just, you know, I don't know, they feel right for the area, you know, kind of like how you're I don't know, example of like when I go to Fornost and I'm in Old Fornost and the Wraiths are there, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm in Old Fornost obviously because I'm fighting a bunch of Wraiths, you know. It'd be cool if like it's just like, yeah, there's just a lot of like butterflies here, so we must be near Mirkwood or something, you know. Actually, aren't there supposed to be a lot of butterflies in Mirkwood?
There are the black butterflies.
Let's do some.
Let me look at their note.
Let's do some. We don't need to go with the black because this is not like evil Mirkwood. What if we put some like just regular butterflies here as kind of like a little, like yeah, this is not as corrupted Mirkwood. Yeah, let's do 2 here. So Cam.
The trees are thinning here, so
Just regular ass butterflies. We'll just do so 0, 2, 200. Boom, just like that. That looks good. Tree snakes. Is there any like fun kind of tree snake we could do? Oh, I messed this one up too. All right, so calm change 1 mob 1804 0, 0.
yeah, I didn't check the note on the butterfly yet. Trying to do too many things at once. Yeah, Rogan's correct.
But this isn't a dark forest, right? This is the outside the dark forest. This is like.
I mean, it's kind of the edge of Mirkwood. I guess it's how you describe it.
Aren't we trying to show that we're kind of near the outskirts? Like, I feel like putting black butterflies here would be kind of lame. Or, like, a little too, like we want to send the message that we're leaving the forest, right? Or entering. Like, this is, we're not in, like, Pound Town here. Pain Town, you know?
That's true. Is it really Mirkwood if it's not dark?
Yeah. Well, we can get rid of those pretty easily.
Do you want to put some like a coil of vines, which is kind of the higher level Mirkwoodish?
Sure.
Not the dark vines.
Let's do that right here. This would be actually. Let's do it right here. Here.
Only load this evil plant within a forest, either in or near Mirkwood.
All right, so we can definitely do that then.
Coil of vines. They don't move.
Okay. And 2663. We'll just do 1. Sweet. All right. What else? Probably need something down here.
Like classic boar in the fields kind of thing, or a wandering black bear, or
you know, a black bear actually I feel like would be really good down here. Why not? What's a black bear?
Let me just check the note quick.
Or a tawny bear.
Okay, so black bear can be loaded in low mountains, hills, and forests.
This is perfect.
Okay, black bear is $15.99.
Yeah, we'll do it right here. We'll do it right here. $15.99. So can $15.99 01 01 01. They do wander. I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah, they wander. Yep.
Cool. I feel like something should be here. It doesn't necessarily need to be a mob, but we need something here.
We could put like a spring or a water source, or
oh yeah, these are great ideas. Yeah, let's put a spring here. I love that idea. What's a spring? Or what's a water thing? Spring. All right, so 6515. That looks right. 100. Nice.
okay. Pond.
We can adjust that stuff here. Again, this is just kind of getting the shape of how the zone should like feel. Here, let's you know what we should do? Would be really fun. What if we added
You want to add a pike?
Yeah, a pike would be cool. Can we add, do pikes have to be in water?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like we actually have enough stuff in the water already. So maybe we kill the sturgeon and just put a pike in.
You want to add a fisherman?
Yeah.
All right, let me look at. There's a couple options here. Let me take a look.
So there's a
All
couple.
right, we've got two options. We have an old fisherman that has no notes associated with it, or a fisherman, a young one.
Let's do an old fisherman.
Just check one more thing. Oh, no. So his description says he's one of the humans who makes his living in Greyhaven. So
definitely. All right, we'll do a new fisherman then. Young fisherman.
Yep. Okay.
All right, 6'4", 8'1".
Although his long description is that he's sitting in a boat in the middle of the water. So
Well, let's do this then. Boom. Wait.
we can redress him, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Is there just like a blank man, and we can redress him to be fishing?
All right, let me take a look. Hold on.
Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna load him here, so we can move on. I'm just gonna load him here, and then we can show this
Do
off.
that later.
Yeah, redressing later. All right, so cam that one under. Boom. Nice. We got a measurement. Yeah, he's probably should.
Oh, he says he's standing there. Okay.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, so we got a little bit of texture to the zone now, which is really good. This means that like in the next stream we can really like start fleshing out some of the things.
Just refining, yeah.
So a couple of things that we are really going to want to start hitting in the next stream are the one, like I guess finishing up all the mobs and refining stuff. But then two, we're going to also start wanting to add like room flags to everything. We're going to start wanting to. We've got 2 exits so far. We've got, two, I should say, doors. We got one in this little camp, and then we've got one over here, which is the entrance to Mirkwood. You had the idea of making this a special exit, so we might be looking into that. I think it'd be really fun if this was pickable, so we'll look into that. And then we can discuss a little bit more like the fun. Oh, let's see here. What did Niche praise? Any chance the creator of Mappers Online is it Maya?
You'll find that when you're building and you create all your stuff and you have these mobs, you'll think about it over the course of the day, and then you'll come back and realize like you don't like that, and you'll change it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, pro tip from Not a Pro is just put stuff in. It's so much easier to take stuff away than put stuff in. So just like put stuff in. And it's like when you write an essay again. Like, don't just write stuff and then fix it.
Yeah. Every creative process is iterative, and you need percolation time. So don't be afraid to experiment. I mean, this will be reviewed by your supervisor. You can talk to your supervisor about it. And so it's not like the things you're putting in at this stage are set in stone. So yeah, just experiment.
We're probably gonna oh my goodness, we're gonna be wrapping up here relatively soon. Before we do though, I'd really like to have a little discussion on, let's try to get a game plan together for an item and a mob. And again, we might get totally shot down here, and that's fine. But I would really love to at least showcase the process of requesting one. But that also means we kind of need an idea of what we're doing. Yeah. So you want to sit down?
Is there anyone in the chat with any ideas about mobs or objects?
What would you guys like to see besides Balrog? Although Balrog would be a good idea. I'm not sure if my chat is delayed or not, but we'll see what they come up with. While we're waiting for that, off the top of my head again, or off the top of your head, do you have any ideas of what you think might be fun in a zone?
So it depends on sort of the context of the item we're trying to create. Like, is this going to be more like an RP item, or is it?
I think we definitely are going to be. This is a. I'm thinking completely on the RP side of the house.
So like this could be a piece of treasure
So
basically that you could sell or keep for RP reasons. We are in sort of a trade artery.
mhm.
So something that is being sent down the river and maybe got lost or is associated with the people that live here. We talked a little bit about like certain embroidered textiles or like a blanket or something, or maybe wine
Mhm.
from um, yeah, something trade related. I think makes sense
Generally
as a treasure.
generally speaking, when with your dealings with Frore, what are like some sticking points? Like, what are, because a part of this also is you kind of want to game plan a little bit in terms of like, what is he going to say yes to? um,
Frore is very focused on keeping things consistent canonically. Like
mhm.
if it has a lore basis, he tends to like that if you can tie it back to the books. Um, he typically doesn't like things that are generic fantasy centric. So, you might see objects in like other games like World of Warcraft or whatever. Um, but if they don't make sense in the Lord of the Rings context, even if they're not, exactly canonical, like if it makes reasonable sense that they'd be in the world, he does not like the sort of generic fantasy stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, like he's pretty reasonable, and if you can tie it back to the books, he's typically on board with that, or he'll work with you on that.
I'll put out a feeler on Discord and see if and maybe Elven Runes or something, and see if people can, maybe we'll like put a little vote for a couple things. Um,
Sure.
but off the top of my head, something like Dorwinian wine probably would fly pretty easily.
I
Uh,
think that's cool. I think seeing what the community says, and if not, we can go down that path, and then I can help you set up the keyword for that and what that looks like, because it involves like looking at stats and stuff,
yeah.
of
Um,
comparable items. So I don't know if we want to show that on stream, but yeah.
yeah. Let's I'll put together kind of a little vote thing for that. Um, so mob wise though, any ideas on mobs? What are you thinking?
So like we were near Mirkwood, which has certain implications. North of us, there are more hills that another builder's working on, so there might be something to tie into that if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I do like there being like the fisherman stuff here. So maybe some type of villager or person who lives here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if we want another animal, another Lobi animal that's kind of just here. I don't know if that makes sense. But there are people here that we don't have elsewhere in Arda, so maybe something related to the
How
people
is
that
he?
live in this area.
How is he when it comes to like named mobs? Like, if you're just having a
In my experience, which is not the same as everyone's experience, Frore has shied away from named mobs unless they have a purpose. So, like if there's a quest associated with them, but if it's just like random, build a man here or whatever, like, and there's no purpose to him, he's
he
just
doesn't like
named.
that.
He'll
Doesn't like that.
probably won't like that. Yeah.
Okay. Mm, hmm. Can't really go any like mounts are too specific. Um, I think would probably be. I don't know. My gut is that we probably are going to be looking at something that's like a reskin of an existing mob. Um, so like a silverbacked
Like a
trout or something.
camper or something. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or
Could be like some hermit or something that lives in the hills,
yeah,
or
a
yeah.
hermit would be good. I guess another thing is, and this is maybe a little bit early, but like I, this is going to be a very muddle, low requirement zone. Um, but do we want to have any kind of, not necessarily like built-in quest, but like some, do we want this to tie into any like plot of a quest somewhere, or just like there's a thing you're supposed to do here?
We can
Um,
talk to the other builder
mhm.
who's nearby and see if he has anything associated that we could link here because you guys will be connected.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea, just to see how it can connect to the other surrounding zones, which is always important to make sure there's cohesiveness between the areas.
Mm-hmm. Wow, these butterflies have really, really moved.
Could also ask the community too and see if they have any mob ideas, and we can obviously just not take their suggestions.
Yeah,
And,
just absolutely say no. No, I would actually. It would be really fun if the community kind of just voted on what the next mob and item would be. That'd be really cool. I'll put both of them in there and see what people come up with.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, other than that, let's see here. So I'll do that today, and then we can. I'll sometime before the next stream, we'll try to narrow that down so that hopefully by the next stream, which I don't know if you'll be able to make or not, but if you can't, we'll in the background be able to send out a request and hopefully get some word back on it at some point.
With building, there's a lot of review and a lot of approval required, and so it does take time. So don't feel, just as a general PSA to the builders or future builders, don't feel discouraged. These things take time.
Yeah, and actually, this is just more for a you point specifically, Evelidan. What would you want in terms of like your review process? How would you like reviews to work in the sense that like if you're using the standard template, you finish the MC phase or whatever, and then they go through and review all the room names and the desks and whatever, right? And then you move on to putting in objects and whatever. Is there a way that we could do this like in a rolling type fashion where you're reviewing, like I can finish something and you're reviewing it while I'm working on the next thing? So we're both doing something?
I would like to have certain things like, because it's a creative process and things will change as you're like deciding on how you want things to flow. That's why I would like look at descriptions and names and stuff, flags and whatever first, just so that's locked. And then I can focus on, all the objects and the libs and like all that stuff. So like I was planning on doing it. Like you can be working on a bunch of things concurrently, but like I would just review MC stuff first, even if you're adding mobs and whatever, that's fine. You need to wait for me. But just so I can keep myself organized, I was planning on doing it step by step, but you can still keep working on other things. You don't need to be like pausing, adding mobs. I'll just do that next, because I do have a keyword set up where I'll like, flag things that need to be changed for per phase. I have to think about that a little bit. Maybe there's a better way to do that, but that's just how I initially envisaged it in my head.
Okay. Yeah. Now that we've got a pretty good sense of the layout and some of the mobs and the general kind of way that the map should flow,
not a big zone, so it's
pretty
not
reasonable to start
throwing
desks at it and stuff. So yeah, like stuff like, I mean, this is a great example of the room that we're in right now. Like, probably not gonna the environment's probably not gonna affect it that much, so we'll probably go ahead and start doing that at some point. Okay, well, great. I think we have a pretty good game plan, and we'll go ahead and get that taken care of for next time.
Cool. No, this is fun.
Evelidan, thank you so much for hopping on and providing guidance, especially with fumbling over all the comm commands.
It's even if you've built before, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it's no big deal.
Exactly.
Happy to help.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, this, like I said, this is an ongoing series. So probably next stream will be probably Sunday. And other than that, we'll probably let you guys go and catch you later.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Peace.